What's up, bookworms? Welcome to episode 137 of the Cantina Book Club podcast, where readers can find interviews with authors of all genres. I'm Megan, self-proclaimed Cantina Queen, here to bring you insights from the authors themselves. Each week features a Cantina conversation with an author. Sometimes they're returning guests, and sometimes it's someone new. So please be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss out on an episode, and feel free to browse through existing episodes so that you could catch a previous interview about a book that you finished. Today's episode features a chat with Rea Frey talking about her book, Dear Mother. That book is available now. I love this book. I'm a sucker for a good thriller, and her storytelling and just the twists, the characters, and the story just really gripping, and she did it really well. But it was really cool to hear about her journey writing this book. I guess it's very different from her experience of releasing previous novels. Some spoilers do pop up in these conversations, but the episode is more enjoyable if you've read the book anyway. So if you don't know why Ria and I are kind of brokenhearted talking about some of the main character siblings and what happens to them, then hit pause, add this episode to your playlists, and go pick up a copy of Dear Mother. This interview will be here when you're ready. Just a heads up that I often use adult language to express my feelings towards these authors and their work. Whether the characters need to get their shit together or I am saying what the fuck to the author for making me feel things, just please be mindful around listening ears. All right, books coming out this week. Cinco de Mayo, May 5th. We've got Hidden River by Sarah. I read that, but to be honest, it wasn't my jam. It was a really interesting story, but I think the writing style just didn't work for me. But I recommend it for those who maybe want to check out some speculative fiction or domestic fiction, but there might be some trigger warnings abound. And then another book that is available now is Ashland by Matt Harry. I love that book. Sci-fi, post-apocalyptic detective novel, and it is kind of a little scary about how it might relate to some readers and what we all went through during the global pandemic. But that book is available now. But my interview with Matt will be coming out this month as well. So if you want to be ready for that interview, pick up Ashland and enjoy. But either way, without further ado, get ready, grab your favorite drink. Here is Ria. Okay, so today we've got Rea Frey. We're talking about her book, Dear Mother. That book comes out on April 28th. Rea, this book, I swear to God, it twist after twist after twist during like the last, I don't know, 60 pages. I thoroughly enjoyed it. What a ride. I'm excited to dig a little bit deeper today.
Well, thank you so much. I'm excited as well.
Yeah, to get started, could you give a quick like summary so that people can follow along with the conversation?
Sure. So, Dear Mother is about an investigative journalist named Isabel Archer who has to return home to her very small hometown of Cedar Lock, Washington, to bury her estranged mother. So she hasn't been back in decades. The town is the scene of a tragedy when Isabel was younger. When she was about 13 years old, 3 of her foster siblings died in a tragic fire, and the whole town thought that her mother was responsible. And so there's just always been a lot of speculation. Isabel got out of town as quickly as she could, but when she comes back, they do an autopsy, and it is maybe revealed that her mother could have been murdered instead of dying of natural causes. So naturally, Isabel, being a journalist, she wants to get to the bottom of it and see if her mother's death had anything to do with her siblings' deaths so many years before.
Yeah, I always like take notes as I'm like reading along, and it's hilarious to me because I'm like looking back at them and I'm like how unhinged they are.
Oh, for sure.
Because like I'm going back and forth like wait, this person is sus, this person is sus. I don't know. What are the kids up to? And then it was like I love the way that you feed it. It was like just a very good thriller. And like when it's dual timeline, I love it when you feed us the readers little flashbacks as to like, and then I realized like, oh shit, this is a flashback to that night. And then I became more invested and I became like feeling for these kids because you were like, I'm just going to make you feel all the feels. Like that
And
was,
knowing that they're gonna die, which is so awful,
yeah.
but I love a dual timeline in a thriller because I feel like it's almost like 2 mysteries that you have to solve or that you're kinda interested and invested in, so I think it can be a fun device to use.
So were you like Charlie from It's Always Sunny, where like Post-its on the wall and trying to connect the
Oh,
dots and make sure that you're like feeding everything strategically?
ready to hear a story about how this book was constructed? So,
Of course.
the book that you have in your hand was written in 2 weeks. It was a complete rewrite. So, I turned in my first draft, not first draft, but the first iteration of Dear Mother
A
to my
version,
editors.
yeah.
Yeah, early. I have 2 editors at this publishing house. And I was like, man, I nailed this book. I'm so excited. My agent loved it. And before they gave me my editorial letter, they were like, hey, can you hop on a Zoom? We need to talk about some things. And I was like,
Oh,
that's
no.
never good. And so I just said, just let me know, is this going to be a complete rewrite? And they were like, yeah, it is. And
Oh,
so, and this
no.
is my ninth book. That has never happened to me before.
Oh, wow.
And if you write, and you turn something in and you're waiting on edits, editing a book is very different than starting from scratch and having to like write something. And I write in 2 genres, so I had just finished another book and I just wasn't in the like creation process mindset at all.
Sure.
But we had a big conversation. They just like for some reason didn't like the book and they didn't want to keep anything about it. So they were like, scrap it. What other ideas do you have? Go. I was just trying to really think on the spot. And I even considered writing something else, but I was like, okay, so I kept my character's name and the town of Cedar Lock and everything else changed.
Oh
And
my
so
goodness.
what was crazy about this book is I was writing it and my editors were in a Google Doc with me as I was writing Fast and Furious. They were behind me, like live editing, like I could see them in the doc. And so
Oh my
this
god, that's so stressful.
it was very stressful, and I do something similar to I'm a book doula, book coach, so I do something similar with my clients, so I was getting a
Okay.
taste of my own medicine. But this book was, like, put together so fast, I didn't have any time to sit with the characters, to really think about the story, so it is the most I was terrified that it getting published. I was like, "People are gonna think a 3rd grader wrote it." I was just very nervous about it because I didn't have a lot of time to sit with it. So I've been pleasantly surprised that early readers are enjoying it. But I'm like, if you don't, it's because it was written in 2 weeks. So I'm sorry.
No, that's yeah, to me, I'm one of those people that surprises me because maybe it's your experience as a published writer, when this is not your first rodeo. You've been through the song and dance and on both ends, right? So maybe that's your brain, some
I
conditioning
don't know. It's
somewhere.
something. It's something. Yeah, channeled that book somehow, some way, but it is not a process I would like to repeat in the future because it was very stressful. But I'm actually glad I went through it. I think it made me more resilient as a writer.
Yes, I think that's a good way to look at it because even anything in life, you're like, "Well, at least I'm glad I went through it and you
Totally.
came through it." And now, the release date is coming up in a few weeks, so, like but that's cool that you're getting early feedback.
Yeah,
Like, for me, for one, I'm like, I love a good thriller, so I'm maybe it's just like but it's also tricky to, like, really tell a true thriller style, right? It's like
completely.
such a so what other genre do you write in?
So I write in kind of a speculative women's fiction. So I play with time.
Okay.
I'm obsessed with like quantum physics and jumping time, alternate universes.
Is it the same pen name?
It's my name. Yeah, Rea Frey. It's funny. I'm with 2 different publishers and I was like, I'm going to write in 2 different genres. Do I need a pen name? But they actually said no, which is surprising. But yeah, I love playing with kind of time slip fiction. I always say if people have seen Sliding Doors, that kind of like what if scenario, I love
Yeah.
writing about that.
That is yeah, that's so cool, and that's a whole 'nother Charlie from It's Always Sunny scenario
To
where you're just like,
Totally.
"Okay, whole
Yes.
new Post-it notes, a way to organize it." Because
Yes.
I that's why I'm just like I love asking authors that question, "What's your process?" Like,
Mhm.
how many rewrites or how many? Because you all obviously and you were expecting maybe a certain point except for this one,
Right.
um, and it's also like, oh, like, is your Google search history questionable? How did
Oh,
the research go? I
yeah,
love it, love it.
very much. I used to be in my former life, I was a journalist on like several death row cases.
Mm,
So my Google history, I used to go on death row and sit with inmates and talk to these murderers and write about their cases. And yeah, there was
oh,
a period of my life where it was like, if anybody had looked at what I was searching, would have been really questionable. But yeah, the process is always so fun. And it's funny you mentioned post it notes because one of my favorite exercises ever to do once I get through a first draft is I call it the post it note exercise. But I print out the book and I look at it chapter by chapter, but I sum up in a single sentence what happens in that
mm,
chapter. And if I can't sum it up, then that is a problem. And then I lay it all out. And so if I have 2 points of view, I'll color code it. But then I'm just so visual. Sometimes it's hard to just look at like a Word document of 300 pages
of
and
course,
try to find where you are. So seeing it like that, it's so simple and I can rearrange
right.
things. I can see what's filler, what needs to go where. So I love that process. It feels really clarifying.
No, 100%, 'cause it's like, yeah, you're looking at a screen and, like, over and
Yes,
over, like, lines of text, and you're like, "Okay, I need to, like, revisualize this to make sure everything makes sense." And
exactly.
not only that it makes sense and it flows, but also it's going that step above to grip you. And when am I gonna
Exactly.
reveal this? And when am I gonna tug my readers along here? How am I
Exactly.
gonna tug them along? Because I was, like, going through this story, and I was like, the amount of swearing in caps that I just writing notes, like, I handwrite them down, and I'm like, "Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Wait, what?" Like,
Oh,
it's
it's
just
so
like
fun.
it really was, and I'm, like, looking at my notebook now, and it's hilarious because I'm like, it the more caps, the later pages of this
Yes.
section, your section is, like, more caps. "Holy shit, a blank is dead. Did blank do that too? Did blank poison everyone?" I was
Yeah,
like, just like
completely.
all of it, but I think it's so funny to look back on that and, like and just know that, okay, the more I wrote, that means the more engaged and the more surprised I was because
Well,
I was trying to
that's
keep up
lovely.
and also keep track of my feelings and, like, how
Yes,
I was
yes.
receiving it so that I could be ready for you because it was like I love a good thriller, and I think the storytelling is such a huge piece of it and, like, how your style of how you're gonna how you have to reveal things at the right time, and
Completely, and
yeah.
this one was funny or is funny because it's the shortest book I've ever written, granted, because it was in 2 weeks, but it's only, like, 67,000 words, and I've had a lot of
Mm.
readers be like,
I
I
finished it in,
love
like, a
it."
day and a half, and
Exactly,
I have, like, a life.
it's a
I
day
have a job and
the
kids
day
and,
read.
like
And the average attention span is point 0.8 seconds. So I'm like, "Hey,
absolutely.
these, like, shorter thrillers, I kinda love it because you have to force yourself to be, like, leaner and tighter and just, like,
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of just meandering around and, like, fluff, and ironically, this thriller out of my others does move the slowest in terms of, like, taking a second to dive into what's going on. Like usually I'm just starting with a kidnapping or we're jumping right in. So I also worried that, oh, our reader's going to get bored because it's not this like big kind of catalyst necessarily like
Yeah,
right
well,
off
I
the
mean,
top.
I think the first page is, like, the article
Yeah,
where
exactly.
it's like
Which
yeah,
gives you the lay of the land a little bit and like what's at
right.
stake and what's
So
going
I feel
on.
like you're peeking in on
Yeah,
that,
right.
like, you're dipping it you're like, "I gotta still sneak something like that in there," like,
Completely.
to set the tone, for sure. Hopping back or piggybacking off of your earlier statement of your previous career,
Yeah,
were there any skills that kind of transferred over to these sorts of projects? And, like, I feel like that's so wild because it's like if you were writing stories about them, it's like a different it's a different mindset, right?
completely.
Like where it's fiction versus nonfiction in a
Definitely.
sense.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
nonfiction is just you gotta find the truth. You got and I worked with a lot of prisoners who were falsely accused as well and, like, trying to find like,
Oh,
fight
wow.
for their freedom and innocence, and so I was
And
kind
then
of like
what state or what region was
in
this in?
Tennessee and then in Illinois,
Okay.
actually.
Okay, I'm
Um
from Chicago area,
Oh,
so I don't know if
yeah.
you were, like, Southern Illinois, though,
Yeah,
were you,
yeah.
like, the middle of the state?
I was in Chicago, but I worked with the
Okay.
Illinois Innocence Project, and then the biggest case I
That
worked.
sounds really familiar, I think I've heard of that, yeah.
Yeah, there was a case, and I don't remember if it was like 2005 5 maybe, but a woman from Bloomington, Indiana, her name was Amanda Ham, she was accused of drowning her 3 children, and I worked that
Okay.
case
Wow.
for
So you
like a year. I got so close to that family. I think it actually helped me just on the people side of things, and I've always had a lot of empathy. I know this sounds crazy, but for murderers, or I don't just write them off like, "Oh my god, you're the worst human ever." At some point, they were children, they were innocent, and I'm really interested in where along the way they make those wrong decisions. And so
yeah.
that parlays into fiction really well because I write about a lot of people who make very questionable decisions, but like, can you make the wrong decision for the right reason, or are you entirely bad? Like villains that are just the worst people on earth. I don't find that very interesting. I like people that
Yeah.
are psychologically layered.
A little complicated.
Yes, a little complicated.
Or yeah, a little complicated to put it in very little like one term. No, I agree because I feel like that's a really common theme is like multidimensional,
Yeah,
where it's not super obvious. Because yeah, it was like we have Isabel and she's like going through all of these and she's getting the truths that she never really it seemed, at least I got the impression that she wasn't sure if she wanted the truth. She was kind of like,
absolutely.
"I'm just done with this and I'm done." And then there's that guilt of the more she learns, she's like, "Oh my god, like, did I really have it wrong this whole time? And why was I
Completely.
not here?" And then I we could talk about Jack for a second
Yeah.
because it was like I he was, like, perfect, of course. He
Which is
was, like,
funny because he
God,
just
yeah.
materialized, like, I'm like, "This book needs something. We need something to look forward to."
And it
So
was like yeah, it's like, of course, like, maybe you needed, like, a little something swoony, but also someone to help propel things
yeah,
and to help,
exactly.
like, support her, and who was but also I love the fact that he was like, "I like, whatever you think about yourself, like, I still want
Mm.
this." And it's like you see both sides of it, right? You see how she's like, "No, I'm not good for you," and he's like, "I see all of you. I we have a kid together.
Yep,
Like, we are like, I understand every" like, he doesn't understand it, but he sees all of it, and he's
completely.
still her, and just some of his, like, little confessions, I'm like, "Oh my god, he loves you, girl!" Like
Unconditionally, which it's so hard, I think, for, like, Isabel, she hasn't really experienced anything unconditional, it's always been conditional in her household, so I wanted him to be that steady anchor,
Yeah,
like, throughout the
and it
process of the
does
book.
yeah, it makes me think about, like, how those childhood experiences shape your
Yes.
perception, even though it's like, "Okay, I understand that you think you don't deserve this, or you think you're not worthy of this, but respectfully, you're wrong." It's like,
Yeah,
respectfully, it's not as simple as that. It's like, maybe you have some work to do, but there's no reason why you don't deserve someone who's, like, who's gonna be in your corner.
yeah,
There's no reason why you don't deserve someone like this and why you don't deserve an amazing daughter. Like,
completely.
it's just like, we're all messy.
Yes,
All have things, maybe not to that extreme, but, like, we all have things to work on. And
absolutely.
it's just yeah, that's like I guess that's like a way to get to the human part of it, to, like, way for you to connect to your readers.
Yeah.
So I think that was so funny just hearing your experience of how, like, you're like, "I just had to throw this shit together," but somehow you were still able to make characters that were, like, very just
Thank you.
authentic, and even if they were, like, maybe problematic, they were still, like I liked all the characters, even the
Well,
messy ones,
good.
even the problematic ones, I liked them.
I'm glad to hear that, and the ending, which I fought with my editors on, I love ending a little bit on a little bit of a creepy note or a little bit of a, "Ooh," like, I wanna is there gonna be something else? Like, what's and they weren't super sold on it, but I've heard fun feedback from readers like, "Oh my god, the ending, like, freaks me out," or, like, "I need to know what's gonna happen next," so
They're
that
like,
was
"Why you
good.
gonna do this, Rhea?"
Yeah.
Or is it Rhea? I'm so
Rhea,
sorry,
yes,
Rhea.
yes, no,
Rhea.
thank you
"Why you
for
gonna do
asking.
this, Rhea?" Okay, so let's see. Obviously, you tackle a handful of like sensitive topics and themes, maybe potentially trigger warnings. How did you navigate that? I'm sure, like with just in the genre, maybe what you're up to at this point, but how are you taking care of yourself while you're navigating through those things?
Ooh, I love that question. It's funny, I always write really tough themes that always have to have some sort of I don't there's not a trigger warning in this one or a disclaimer, but I've had books that do. But it's very interesting. Like I don't I had a reader once say like, "Oh my gosh, she explores domestic violence in all of her books. Like I wonder if she is has been through that." And
Mm.
I actually have not, but it's very strange to see kind of the themes. I'm very big on mother-daughter relationships and dysfunctional relationships, even though I have a wonderful relationship with my mom, but I find that I don't know, there's a separation that happens for me as the writer. Like I can write about all these heavy things. Like I on the women's fiction side, I wrote about a mother losing her daughter in one reality and then she lives in another. And at the time, my daughter was 9, this character's daughter was 9, and that was impossible to separate myself from. Like I was sobbing while I was writing. It was very
Ugh.
dark. And I promised that I would never do that again, like go that deeply. But now I don't know. It's weird. I can just compartmentalize and then really just separate myself from it so it doesn't permeate my brain all day, every day. Yeah, it's a weird separation, but I've got clean boundaries there.
That's good. Yeah, I'm sure those have taken a while to develop, but
For
yeah.
sure. For sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
because no, I that's what it's I imagine it's so easy to just, like, get in the zone
Sh-
and
Yeah.
immerse yourself because 'cause you're like, "I gotta know these details. I gotta be able to write, oh, like, how was this character feeling, or what did this character see, and how did that make this person react?" And but, yeah, like, I totally appreciate that, like, that's why I like to ask the authors because 'cause I'm like, "I hope you're taking care of yourself," because
Yes,
like, I
no,
hope
that's a great
and I also
question.
wanna know, like, how because it is, like, such it's a balancing act, and
It
it's like,
is.
you gotta do your work, but you gotta pull yourself out of it because I've read books where I'm like, I was not okay. I was like
Completely, and I am so careful about, like, I'm a morning writer, but, like, there's no writing before meditation, breath work, journaling,
oh, yes.
grounding, sitting
I
outside,
love that.
having coffee with my partner, like, just really dropping in, and then I have a little tiny home on the back of my acre lot, and that's my writing
I
studio. There's
love that.
no Wi-Fi in there. It's so chill. I love it. And so I can really like close the door and leave it at the end of the day. And because I am always writing in really tiny chunks because I again am a book coach and am constantly working on at least 8 books at a time, other people's books and pitching them to agents and or ghostwriting or just my brain all day every day is entrenched in other people's work. So I've had to get really good about cutting it
Yeah.
off, coming back to my real life and yeah, just knowing the difference there.
Yeah, yeah, that's tough. It's like, because I know obviously you love the work, but you're like, "Okay, if I wanna really go there, I gotta,
Yes.
like,
Yep.
yeah, have
Totally.
some methods in place." I love the meditation and, like, how you just set yourself up and you're like, "No, I'm good."
Yes, you're
Zone
good.
in,
I'm
like
mentally
yeah.
good. Yeah. Gotta be mentally good.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm gonna throw this two-parter at you. What were the most challenging parts to write? What were the most enjoyable parts to write?
Gosh, the challenging was literally like building the plane in the air with this book because I was like, I don't, there was no outline. Like, I don't know where I'm going to go. And changing the villain, I think that was the most difficult part was actually making it feasible and doing that research of the poison element and then bodies that have been burned and
Ooh,
after 25 years there's a scene where these bodies are exhumed and like what would actually still be there and is there anything
yeah.
that's testable or traceable. So that took a little bit of research. It wasn't difficult but it was just a little technical. The enjoyable parts, I love writing a good villain and just really trying to get into that psyche. Ooh, I just paused for some reason. I loved actually writing the kids, the back, like their POVs from the night that they died. That was a total addition that I wasn't even planning to write about, but that was really fun to just get to know them and get to see them and care about them, even though they're gonna. I felt so bad, like Celia
Oh, I
specifically. I was like,
know.
Celia. And just knowing like this
And
tragedy is
poor
gonna happen.
Ben,
And yeah,
yeah.
Ben, yeah, all Ben, Jude, and Celia. Yeah, it was but that was probably the most enjoyable part is just writing that time period and that time in those kids' lives.
It was I remember some of my notes that I wrote down, I was like yeah, again, touching on, like, we know what's gonna happen,
You know it's
but
gonna
then it
happen,
was
right?
like
With
yeah,
a little
but then it
twist.
was
There's a
like,
little twist for
yeah,
you know,
obviously, because 'cause we're like, "Okay, there's a reason that the author is showing us these
yep.
not just to torture.
Yeah, not just hopefully
You
not
know?
to torture. I know, and I was like, "Ooh, this is a little dark," but I wanted them to be human, and with the mother, Gail, who is like the villain, she's the villain, Dear Mother. It's called Dear Mother, but you don't ever actually really see her on the page, which is interesting.
Right.
That was
It's
actually
so crazy because
difficult.
it's still her book. That's
Right,
so
right.
crazy.
It's her
Yeah.
book, but you don't see her. So that was really tricky to navigate and just try to make her presence known. But then the book is really about all mothers because there's several different mothers in this book. And like the real title is about another mother in the book. So that was really fun.
Yeah, because it's like it's touching on the flashbacks. It's like I remember writing notes where I was like, I wrote out how scared were they? And it's just
Oh
like
my God.
that's
Can
the
you
thing,
imagine?
it's like,
Yeah.
it draws you into the moment where Celia and, like, Ben, like, with the kids, they knew what was gonna happen. Then it's
Ugh,
like, we know what was gonna happen, but then they know what's gonna happen, and it was just like,
it's awful. I can't imagine that moment,
"Ah!"
like knowing
Yeah,
you're gonna die and there's
and it's
nothing you can
not
do.
it's like, I hope that when I go out, it's not like
Not like
that
that.
because that's painful.
Painful. I write a lot about like my worst fears or worst nightmares, and that is like if I'm gonna go anyway, I do not want to be burned. I will tell you that
What
much.
it what
Like,
what
like
what are your fears? Can you if you wanna share?
going out that way, terrible. I write a ton about children getting kidnapped. Like when I became a mother,
Mm.
that is one of my
Oh
worst
god.
nightmares because it's the not knowing, just like not knowing what
It's
happened
or
to
the
your child.
waiting for the information.
Completely, like total
Yeah.
worst nightmare. But yeah, like I think fire, I don't know, fire has always been, I know some people are obsessed with fire, but man, it's so powerful. That like freaks me out.
It really is because it's like you can't it's nature and
It's
you can't
nature.
control it. You could do your best, but, like, if it gets
Nope.
in the certain conditions, it's as we see,
Yeah.
and that one of my fears, though, also is, like, doing with nature, is, like, if I'm, like, lost in open ocean,
Yes. Oh my
which I'm
God.
not like, I'm not an adventurer. I don't think I would ever be
Yes.
in that
Oh my God.
situation, but, like, as, like, being in an open ocean and not
Yes.
knowing where the fuck to go or where not seeing any land, not seeing, like and
That
just being
is
there. Yeah,
new fear.
and
You just clocked a new fear for me. Yeah. That would
my
be
bad.
horrifying. Yeah. That'd
It's just
be a
and
good
I know how to
good
swim.
yeah.
My dad was a swimmer and like in high school, he was on the swim team. So as soon as we were able to go in lessons, he put us in there
Yeah.
and he was like, I can't make you save yourselves. Right.
Yes.
So I'm like pretty confident in my ability to a certain extent though, because I don't
Sure.
think I ever swam in open ocean. And I've gone snorkeling,
Yep.
and I've gone scuba diving, but even when scuba diving, I got freaked out a little bit because the mask was, like
Yes.
it was still letting water in, I didn't have it, like, super secure, and so I was, like, freaking out, and it was on my honeymoon, of all things, where
Oh, wow.
my husband was, like, certified, and he was like I was like, "Okay, if this is the only thing that you really want me to do, I will do it."
Yeah.
And then but once I got, like because you have to control your breathing, because otherwise you run
Yes.
out of oxygen, and
Yep.
so once, like, my mask was secured, and then I was like I got control of my breathing and I felt okay, then I was like, "Okay, I can focus on the next thing." You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like, once I got those things that were in a rhythm, because otherwise, if, like, I'm not gonna go 50 meters below the surface below water level
Yeah.
and freaking out about water peeking into my eyes, like, and then
Completely.
you know what I mean? No, once I but then it was really funny, on our 10-year anniversary, we went to Hawaii, and he went back scuba diving, and I was like, "I'm good, I'm gonna go to the spa, I'm gonna, like,
Smart.
get a massage."
Yep.
It's
It's
so funny.
nerve-wracking. I There's a lot that goes into scuba diving for sure.
I got too close to an eel, apparently,
Oh,
like,
wow. Yeah.
I yeah, like, cause it was, like we were in Mexico in our honeymoon, and it was a place, I think, where it was, like, nearby, where it was, like, we couldn't go quite as deep, but we there was an area where we could go, and they were warned us, but I guess I did like, I thought I was okay, but then they were like, "No, that was too close." It's like 'cause
Gosh.
they can't talk to you underwater, they can
Sure.
only do certain signals, and
Yeah.
if you do this, like, "Oh, I'm okay," no, they think, "Oh, no, you wanna go up, but you gotta do okay."
Yep.
Like this, and so it was, like, a lot of things, and I was like, "I'm doing this for my husband, I'm doing
Yeah.
like, where I knew he was, I'm
Well, at least you
doing."
did it. You can say you did
I
it.
did
One
it.
and done.
Yes. Do you have any similar experiences where you were like, "I'm gonna do this, and,
Oh gosh.
I'm a rock star?"
Probably a million things. I'm trying to think of something like that though. I used to be I was actually a competitive boxer for many
That's the
years.
last thing I expected it. Please tell me more.
Yeah, I grew up I was a child of the '80s and '90s, and boxing was, like, so popular, especially in my household,
Who
like, my
got
dad.
you
Was
who
that?
got you into it? Your dad?
Yeah, my dad. We would just always watch boxing, and I was so active. I was a gymnast for 13 years and just always
Mm.
needed to, like, get energy out, so
So
started
you're
boxing.
channeling into the Olympics and,
Yes,
like
yeah, it's funny, I wrote a
yeah.
thriller about my last thriller, When She's Gone, is about an Olympic gymnast who gets kidnapped from a haunted house on Halloween right before the Olympic trials in, like,
Oh,
1994.
shit.
So fun.
Okay, hold on, what's the title?
Yeah, When She's Gone.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm on your website, I got it, I'm gonna add it to my TBR. Okay,
amazing. That one's
continue.
fun. That one takes place in one night. But with boxing, yeah, I started boxing. I was gonna compete in my first competition. I was a freshman in college and started getting crazy headaches. And I was an avid athlete, but the thought of boxing in a competition, because female boxing still wasn't super popular, it
Yeah.
terrified me just because it was something so new, like that I'd never done. But I started getting headaches and ended up going to get that checked out and realized or found out that I had a 3.5-inch mass on the left parietal lobe of my brain that was on the verge of hemorrhaging. If I'd gotten hit
Oh,
just one more
Jesus.
time, I would have died. So I ended up getting brain surgery my freshman year of college.
It wasn't leaking, but there was swelling, like,
Oh,
it
no, I
was
had an
swelling,
actual, like, 3 and a half
like
inch
a
mass
Jesus.
that was almost gonna explode. It was
Was it
benign.
was it I was gonna say,
It
was it
wasn't cancer.
cancerous?
It was
Okay.
called an arachnoid cyst, but they removed it, put in 4 titanium plates and 16 screws. I was, like, 42 staples back
Were
in.
you, like, in your early 20s or,
I
like
wasn't even 20. I was like 19 years
oh
old.
my
Yeah.
god.
But that led me to write my first book actually a couple years later, and I ended up getting it traditionally published, but by a terrible publisher. And that
Oh, no.
actually sent me down the path of realizing that because I went to school for creative writing, all my professors were published, but no one taught me about the business of publishing or how to
Oh,
get published,
yeah.
how to make money. So I that actually was the catalyst to not only become really invested in the business side, but learn everything I could on the author side. So it ended up
Yeah,
being a good thing.
you were like, "I am going to protect myself
Yes.
from never
Yeah.
again."
Yes, never again.
You're like, "This is a problem. I do not wanna have these conversations again." Yeah.
Totally.
Oh gosh, I feel for you 'cause it is really like some of it is really a learning curve,
Yeah. Oh gosh, it
and
is.
it's even then, like, now that I'm speaking to you, it's like 9 books later, you're still learning.
Yeah, yeah, I am, and it's why I'm so passionate, like, working with other authors too, to just help them avoid so many mistakes that I've made along the way, and I love, like, helping people figure out their path, their goals, and, like, putting books out their way, 'cause this is such an over romanticized industry. Everybody's like, "Oh, you're an
Mm.
author, you're selling 1,000,000 copies, and you're on the Today Show, and it's all
And
great," and
but it's like there's so much that goes into
there's
it,
so
like
much that goes into it, and so many
especially with
people.
social media too, it's like, "Oh god, I have to hit the right algorithm to, like,
Oh,
really
good
get my
lord.
face out there, to
It
get my
drives
title out
me.
there."
I
Yeah,
wish social media would just implode and we could
I
just go back to
know.
selling books. Like, I signed up to be a creative and to write in my pajamas and to have my publisher
You're like, "I gotta market myself?"
market
Like,
and sell my book. Like, I didn't sign up
yeah.
for any of that. I don't think any of us did, so
Well,
I
even
co
as
I
me as, like,
constantly.
someone who's trying to help you guys along, I'm like, "Wait, how do I get in front of eyes? Like, how do I compete with, like, everybody's attention span and everybody who's, probably getting more eyes than I am?" No, I totally feel you on that,
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Were there any characters in Dear Mother that maybe you found yourself, like, feeding into yourself into them?
Ooh, God, that's a great question. It's so funny. Like I said before, I have this weird separation when I'm writing characters where I'm like, they are their own people. But because I was a journalist, I actually felt myself like feeding into Isabel probably more than anyone and just that need to know the truth. Like I can get
Yeah,
really obsessive like that and
yeah.
just forging ahead no matter what. But I think as a writer, I'm sure we infiltrate all of them just a little bit, but probably Isabel the most.
Yeah. And I did. It was I don't know, she was admirable, but she was also funny. We're like, "Girl, what are you doing?" Like, but you're keeping secrets and, like she's keeping secrets, but she's trying to figure out
Yeah,
things. And
completely.
I don't know, I guess it was just like, you've got this, like, handsome, accomplished, ambitious man, father
Yep,
of your child, but then I was like, you've also got your, like, ex-boyfriend who is also, like, muscly,
totally.
ex-hockey player, tattooed,
Yep.
construction worker who I would have been like, "Yeah."
It's funny, actually, I had her have a thing with River in this book, who is, like, her ex, and, my editors hated that. They're like, "Absolutely not, like, that would never
Oh,
happen, take it out." And I was like, "But I think it could be
it
actually
it has a
self
potential to
and
happen.
self-sabotage." Like, she's a kind of a
But
self-sabotager,
she
and
yeah, I got the I would not have been surprised if she got with him, and I feel like just my viewpoint of her as a character, I feel like not, like, just expected it, but I would have understood if she
sure.
ended up, like, oh, maybe having a romp with him, uh, and then Jack shows up and she's like, "Oh, shit." You
Yeah,
know, like,
exactly. That's exactly
you
what
know
happened,
yeah,
actually, in the
it
like,
was a
when I was rewriting.
PG-13 version, but
Yeah,
yeah, like
yeah. Completely. But that's funny, that's exactly what I wrote and then just had to change it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, that's fun.
that
That's
is
so
yeah.
funny because you were like you were
Give her
inching
something.
towards that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so I'm gonna also throw this at you. So the characters I'm gonna ask about, they come home and they see a sink full of the dishes.
Mm.
How would Isabel wash the dishes or handle a sink full of dishes? How would Harper handle a sink full of
Ooh,
dishes? How would Jack handle a sink full of dishes?
interesting. It's funny, in the first version of Dear Mother, Gail, her mother, was a hoarder, and so Isabel was the
Oh.
biggest neat freak. They made me take all the hoarding things out, and I'm like, I
Mm.
loved, like, this
Did they
character that
why did
I
they
don't know, they did not like it. She was a shut-in
'cause
hoarder.
that would have made a lot of sense. I mean,
Totally. And so Isabel was like the
you're
complete
like, "I
opposite.
know."
I know, yeah. But it would have made a lot of sense, but she was the character that I created was so clean and just obsessive about everything. And so this Isabel isn't that much, but because she grew up like Gail was very stern, yes, dishes put away. And when she does arrive at the cabin, things are in total disarray. So she would be very neat and orderly. I think Jack would let some dishes kind of sit in the sink, but take care of
He'd be
it.
like, "Where's Isabel? I wanna
Yes,
go hang out with her."
totally. And then Harper would take care of it immediately too. Like she's
Right.
very systematic and organized and runs a tight ship.
I love that. I love that.
It's
I
a
love
fun
asking
question.
author like, it was
Yeah,
yeah, it was a question that I asked another author where I was like,
that's a great question.
I was like, "Oh, how do you, like, differentiate between characters? Or how do you, like, put yourself in the mindset of a
Yeah,
character who's, like, different from you, different background, different gender, different age?"
yeah.
And then that was one thing that she said. She was like, "I imagine" I would say, "How would they handle a sink full of
That
dishes?
is
How would they do the
so
dishes?"
so fun because yeah, I don't think I allow myself to think about that when I'm not writing, if that makes sense. Like, so that's just a really fun exercise.
And then it's like once you're asked, you're like, "Oh, I know exactly how
Yeah.
to do
Yeah, because you know them.
this."
You know them, right?
Yeah. I know a last another question similar to that. What advice would you give to Isabel? What advice would you give to Harper? What advice would you give to Jack?
Oh, good lord. Isabel, I would say let the past be in the past, but if she had done that, then
Yep.
things wouldn't have happened the way that they did. Jack, I would say like really fight for what matters in your family because I feel like he's a little like kind of okay, what Isabel says goes and didn't really like fight
He
fight.
he's he's a simp for her, and I
Yeah.
love it.
Yes. And then, oh, good Lord, Harper, go to therapy. I would say, go to therapy, Harper. Get some therapy. That's all I'll say about that.
Her story is so
It
heartbreaking.
is.
It's
Yeah.
like once we learn more about her, it's like
When I am obsessed with sociopathy and psychopathy, like psychopaths, sociopaths. I've written a lot about them. I've studied them. There's this book called Confessions of a Sociopath. If you have not read it, or your listeners have not read it,
is it a nonfiction?
it's nonfiction and the
Okay.
cover's awesome, but it is so interesting, like what trauma, not necessarily like you're a sociopath or psychopath, because of trauma, but the mindset and like just the different things that can happen in the way that you live your life based on, yeah, what's going on upstairs for
Yeah,
Harper is a very complicated character. But yeah, I had empathy for her actually.
I do too. Once you lead the character on to, like, feel for her and get to know her throughout the whole book, and then once we know the truth and it's like, oh, like, it's heartbreaking to see it all come
Yep.
about. It's like, I don't know. It was one of those things where I was like, I would love her in my corner, but at a distance.
At a distance, exactly. Like she's not like a terrible human or anything, but yeah, just be careful there.
Be wary. Yep.
Yes,
Yep. Know what you're getting into, maybe a little bit.
exactly. Exactly.
Okay, let's see. Rea Frey, what do you hope readers get out of Dear Mother?
Ooh, maybe examining their own relationships with their mothers and how I think we're so quick to judge mothers. And a question I've always asked is like, okay, is this a bad mother or is this a mother having a bad day? And what really goes on behind closed doors? And is it just our perception or is this the truth? And I just think it's so interesting with mothers and daughters and all the different
Yeah,
layers there and good and bad. But yeah, I would hope people would think about that with their own
yeah,
relationships.
yeah, just reflect and rethink.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, reconsider, like, because I don't know. I have 2 boys. They're like 5 and 8, but then again, I don't know what's more of a challenge if I had a girl or if I having two,
Girl,
boys.
I will tell you, girl, it's just a different psychology completely. Like it's complicated in
'Cause
a
you
different way.
yes. No, and I totally respect that because 'cause I'm like, obviously, I'm a daughter of a woman,
Yes.
so and I have
Right?
also another
Yep.
sister, and so I love, like, just growing close to my own mom with that new relationship of also being a mom, and
Completely.
it's like I'm like, "No, it's okay, like, we could talk to each other, you could tell me these things, like, you
Sure.
could like,
Yeah.
it's okay if, like, you're frustrated or if you, like, you just feel bad or if you have a thought that you maybe didn't wanna say," but, it's also it's like I have a pressure I feel like as a mom of 2, my kids, they're so white, fair skin,
Yeah.
blonde hair, a lot of SPF in their future.
Yep.
So, I am like, okay, I know that I have a certain responsibility to just make sure they understand and that I'm wondering about, like, going out there. It's a whole thing. It's like an anxiety that I feel
It
because
is.
I'm like
And I think we forget like mothers are just humans too. We are people. Our mother, like we,
and I'm still learning.
yes.
We're
Oh my
still
God.
learning.
Completely. I always say to
Well, how old is your
Sophie,
daughter
she's
now?
13,
Yeah, oh
13.
my god,
And
you are in it.
she's like she's homeschooled and just not into, she's not like a typical, she's still so imaginative and kid like, but it's still so
Yeah.
hard. And I always tell her like, hey, this is my first time parenting. Like,
Yeah.
we did one and
That's what
done with our kids. Like, we don't get a do over, and we're all learning together. So
yeah, my oldest, he was a surprise, and our second was on purpose because we wanted to give him a
totally.
friend,
Yep.
and it was like we told our oldest because like, 3rd grade he's in 3rd grade, and it's a big jump from
Yeah.
2nd grade, and
Absolutely.
so we're like, "Hey, honey, you're our first 3rd grader. We've never had a 3rd grader before.
Yes,
We're
that's right.
all learning.
And
We're
that's so
all
great.
learning." Yeah, and I think he that helped him get a new perspective because he's like he's so smart and he's so, like, intuitive, like, he's so nosy, like, he
Yeah.
asks questions that I'm like, "Mind your own business," but
Yeah.
he's, like, super smart in math, which I'm like, "Okay, cool." Like,
That's
"Okay,
right.
cool."
Yeah.
But he's also like, I'm not too crazy about school, and we're like, "Okay, we
Yeah.
get it. We
Mhm.
get it. That's normal, but
Yeah.
that's your job."
Yep.
That's your job right
That's your
now.
job to do school.
That's your job is to
Yep.
be a student and to learn and to hopefully just, like, try. Just try.
Yep.
That's the
Trying.
very least that we will expect of you is to just try.
That's right.
But yeah, so it's a whole thing. So that's why I'm like, I've heard boys are easier, but I feel like they're harder now, and then maybe they'll be easier later
Yeah.
because it's like the
Yes.
Wild West in my house, and I'm, like,
Completely.
sick of sounding like a broken record machine. I'm like, "I love you guys, and I don't wanna have this conversation again."
Totally.
Like,
Totally.
it's so, like and then, like, they're so rough, and, like, it's second born is a whole new energy
Yeah.
and all of that, all of
Man,
that.
you'll
It's
survive. We'll all
yeah.
survive.
I know, so I'm sending all that surviving
Thank
energy to you too, for
you.
as a mother of a 13-year-old girl, because 'cause I'm like, I remember myself as a
Oh,
13 to 22-year-old girl,
I don't
and
know
I'm
how
like
my
Dude,
mom survived. Yeah.
me and my dad, we did not get along for, like, 12 years.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
and
it's a rite of
girl,
passage, I feel like.
they say girls, like, leave you at 13 and then they come back around, like, 22, 23, and it's gonna be a process,
Yeah,
but we're getting through it.
I
Yes.
know, I know, yeah, it's ugh. No, one size does not fit all.
No, it does not.
Absolutely.
No, it does not.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so Rhea Fry, are you working on anything? What next projects do
Yes.
we have to look forward to that you're allowed to talk about?
Yes. So I'm actually out on submission right now for a speculative women's fiction book that I love called What Happens Next. And then I am trying to diversify this year. And so I will have an audio first project coming out
Ooh,
next year. And it's my first collaborative project. It's 4 authors, it's a cross genre project, which is really cool.
wow.
And then I'm working on another collaborative project with another thriller writer. We're writing this like queer thromance, a queer thriller romance. We're like
I love
so
it.
excited and having so much fun with it. And we might actually self publish it. We're trying to decide because I've only
Yeah,
traditionally published, but I help indie published authors all the time. So I kind of want to be able to speak to that experience,
yeah.
which is really fun. And then, depending on, in all transparency with this publisher, this book has to do super, super well in order for me to do another book with them. So it's like a wait and see. But I do have an idea for my next thriller, which I'm really excited about, called Bloodline, and it'll deal with a female serial killer, which I think is so fun to explore.
I am I'm always gonna be an advocate for female rage, even if it's, like,
Yes.
toxic and
Yes.
problematic.
Yep.
I'm just like, "You go, girl."
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
I love it. I love everything you said. I love everything that you're working on. I love that you're looking forward to possibly doing tapping your toes into indie
I can't wait. I'm
because
hoping I'll
yeah,
never turn back. Like, when I think about how much money I've made my publishers, and it's not all about money, right? But like
right.
the time, the control, like I write so
Having fewer
fast.
cooks in the kitchen and yeah.
Absolutely. And just I just want to experience it and just see if I like it. I actually think I kind of will.
It's booming so much right
It
now, so that
is. It's
yeah,
crazy. I know, I wish I'm not on TikTok, but I'm like, if somebody could just blow me up on the TikTok shop, like, or book talk, I'd be good to go. But I can
I
actually put my
know.
books on TikTok shop, and you can't do that as a traditional published author. So I think there's a lot of advantages, a ton of
Yeah.
advantages. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like it's a whole nother ball
it
game,
is.
and I love that you're like, "Well, prepare to
Yes.
learn that chunk
Yes.
of the publishing industry," because no I yeah, I interview and I talk to traditional indie
Yeah,
self-published, and I that's what I've learned. It's like, I've read traditional published that I'm, like, underwhelmed by, and I've
totally.
read self-published and indie
It's like
published that I'm, like,
amazing.
obsessed with.
Yes,
Yeah.
completely. I know.
So it's just like, I love that it is maybe that's one of the few things that are positive about social media,
Yeah,
where it's like, "Oh, we could get the word out about
a-
something that, like, a lot of people
absolutely.
really like."
You're
Yeah.
absolutely right, actually. Yeah, as much as I dislike social media, on the writing publishing side, I feel like it is a very, like, safe, positive space to be. So,
Yeah,
super fun.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, Ria Fry, where can we find you online and on social media?
Yes,
Speaking
so
of,
yeah, speaking of, so I am only on Instagram at Rea Fry Author, and then everything else, my newsletter, my book coaching stuff, everything is just on my website at reafry.com.
perfect, REAFREY.
FREY. Yes, correct.
Yes. Because it doesn't, like, don't not phonetically, look it up, we'll include
Oh,
show notes
yeah, I
in
blame my
yeah.
parents. It looks like Ray Frey, but it's not. It's Rea Fry.
They could have at least, like, added an H at the end of your
That's
name, but
usually what
I don't know.
Rea is like. It's RHEA,
Right.
but they
'Cause
wanted
Rhea
to.
is a pretty name, and it's like Rhea Fry, and you're like, "Oh, that should seem easy," but
No, it's not easy. No, every day of my
'cause I'm
life,
like
someone
I'm like
butchers it.
reading it, I was like, Rhea Frey, like, or Rhea
Yep,
Frey. I'm like,
completely.
yeah,
Blame my parents. See, I blame
I
my
know.
mother.
Well, I'm Megan, and it's like there's, like, 4 different ways to spell Megan, and
Yep.
I'm, like, the 5-letter version, so
Yes. Oh gosh,
it's,
completely.
and I don't wanna hate anybody who's because they can't control how their parents wrote it on their birth certificate, you know?
Yep,
It's like
completely.
Absolutely. Okay, Dear Mother is out on April 28th. I recommend it to anybody who loves a good thriller, suspense,
I don't know, it's not really a who done it. It's not like a mystery. It's just like straight up, it will tug you along. And if you're gonna take my word for it, last 60 pages, it'll keep your head on straight.
Yay.
Try to keep your head on straight because I you have a knack for thriller, you have a knack for storytelling. If this book is anything to tell you as it seems like it was thrown together, it was still very well done. I
Thank you so
really
much.
enjoyed it.
I appreciate it.
And if and when you're ready to talk about any of your next projects, feel
Yes.
free to come back.
I
I'd
love
love to
it.
chat again.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
And there you go. That was Rea Frey talking about her book, Dear Mother. That book is available now. Definitely recommend it if you are into thrillers, psychological suspense. It's a good one, I promise. Check out the show notes to see links where you can find Ria online and on social media and where you can purchase the book. In the show notes, you'll also see where to find Cantina Book Club on your favorite social media book communities, such as Bookstagram, Book Talk, BookTube threads, and more. And I would love and appreciate it if you could hit that follow and subscribe button so that you never miss out on book reviews and author interviews. If you have any book loving friends who are looking to get more out of their reading lists, please share Cantina Book Club with them so that they can find upcoming releases and interviews with authors. Another way to help this podcast is to head on over to your favorite podcast player and give Cantina Book Club a rating and review. It helps me reach more potential listeners and fellow book lovers like you. And that goes for any podcast that you listen to. It's one of the easiest ways to help. If you need book recommendations, you can reach out to me. I'm always excited to share suggestions based on any genre that you're into. Or you can head on over to cantinabookclub.com and read more in-depth book reviews of all types of genres. And you'll also find links of where to purchase the book and find the author online as well. While you're at it, you could subscribe by entering your email on the website so you can get new reviews and episode posts delivered directly in your inbox. If you want to support Cantina Book Club even more, you can donate by finding the form on cantinabookclub.com. Whether it's a one-time donation or as little as $1 a month, I seriously appreciate the support and will share my appreciation in one way or the other. And finally, one of the best ways to help authors promote their works is to head over to Amazon, Goodreads, Substack, Storygraph, wherever you rate books, and give the title that you've read, an author that you've read, a rating and a review. It really does help them out besides pre-orders or actually just blowing them up on social media. Thanks so much for listening and see you next time. Cheers.